Namo tas bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tas bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tas bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Okay, thanks for joining everyone. So just want to show you on this YouTube channel, I highly recommend you actually review the previous lessons if you missed any. So we've done 5 lessons so far. Today is the 6th one. On the first one, we covered the introduction to, the 31 realms and why we need, what's the importance of learning Abhidhamma, this topic is. And then, in Abhidhamma, you cover the thoughts, 52 thoughts. We did that first. So the first 13 thought of the 52 was covered in the second lesson, and then the 14 negative thoughts. It's important to understand these thoughts because the 52 thoughts are what we experience in our own minds. So it's important to identify those thoughts as they occur, so you can meditate on them. So the 14 negative thoughts was covered on the third lesson, and then the remaining 25 positive thoughts we covered on the fourth lesson. And the last lesson we covered the 24 mind energies, which basically consist of these variations of these 25 positive thoughts. So today we're going to cover this topic, the 12 unwholesome or negative karma creation mind energies. Basically, this is very important because most of our daily lives, these are the mind energies that we constantly experience. So in order to do insight meditation, it's important to recognize these 12 mental states or negative mental states as they occur. So we'll look at those today. So let's begin. So today we're going to cover, as I said, the 12 unwholesome negative karma creation thoughts. Let's look at them. So just want to give you an overview of, as I always do at the beginning of these lessons, just want to give you an overview. And this slide I slightly changed from previous slides. So when we talk about the Abhidhamma, what that really means is it is a study of the micro levels of energy types as taught in the Theravada Buddhism. So these energy are of 170 types. Okay, similar to what you learn in the periodic table, but just want to highlight that these are even micro level, which is identified and taught by the Tathagata Buddha in his infinite wisdom. He has broken all energy types. He has divided all energy types, and there are 170 types that he couldn't divide further. So these are classified under the topic of Abhidhamma, or the highest teaching in Buddhism. And they are further categorized into these 4 categories. Okay, those 170 energy types are classed under mind energy, 89 of them, and thought energy, 52 of them. So this mind and thought energy, they are, if you can imagine, as a vibrational energy. Okay, these are all vibrational energy, but except for the nirvana. Nirvana is not a vibrational energy, but the mind energy and thought energy and material energy, they are all vibrational energy. But the mind energy and thought energy exists only in beings, okay, who are alive. There are 31 realms these beings exist, which we covered in our previous, in the first lesson actually. So I suggest if you listen to that one in our YouTube channel. But the mind energy, we all have them. So if you have a mind, then you have mind energy basically, and also thought energy. They're inseparable. They They are classed as a vibration. As a vibration, there are three sides to the vibration, which we'll cover in the next slide. And this vibrational energy has three states: beginning, middle, end. And the mind energy and thought energy are also called nama dharma in Pali. And the third energy type is material energy type. These are the energy type that creates all things material around us in this realm and in other realms, including our body. So all physical objects and people, they are created using these combination of these 28 Rupa energy or material energy. So 28 plus 52 plus 89 is 169. And all those 169 energy type can't exist on its own. It has to be supported by one or more energy types. But the only energy type in its own class that exists is called Nibbana. And it's neither, the Nibbana energy basically doesn't have a beginning or end. It just has, it just exists, okay? And we can't really call it energy. I mean, that's the only word that I can translate it to. But in Pali, it's called Dhamma. So Nibbana is a type of Dhamma. But the best way to describe it is it has no qualities of the mind energy category, thought energy category, or material energy category. It's a category on its own, which is unique. It's very pure. It is a purest form of Dhamma or energy type. And that is the ultimate energy type that we want to convert our mind energies into. So Buddhism teaches you how to purify your mind energy, thought energy, and material energy through insight meditation, so that you can convert yourself into the Nibbana energy. And that basically, in this particular energy, it has no qualities of any of these energies. There's no rebirth, exist, or anything like that. So that's the whole point of learning these subjects and Buddhism, so that you can purify your mind energy, which is finer than the material energy. And thought energy and mind energy basically is what you need to purify using insight meditation, so that you can achieve Nibbana. So let's carry on to the next session, next slide. So I went through this before. This is a visual kind of explanation of the mind energy and thought energy relationship. So I told you that, if you have a mind, you have thoughts inside that mind energy, and they are a form of vibration. So if you can just look at this bottom image, it shows the vibrational pattern. So by the way, there's no how it really exists. It's just for communication purposes. I created this slide just to show you the relationship between mind and thought energy. So what I'm trying to show here is that this vibration has three sides. So it appears or begins, it sustains or it has a duration, and it ends, it disappears. So appearing and disappearing are the two ends of the energy, of the vibrational energy. And when a vibration exists on its own, it has thoughts. I said the mind energy is symbolized by the black line here, which is mind energy. You can see this on this legend, and these color coordinations, they mean something. These are the thoughts according to the Buddhism. The 52 thoughts, these are just 7 of them, the first 7 that exist in all mind energies. Now what we're looking at today are basically the negative mind energies. There are 12 of them. Out of the 89 types, out of these 89 types, we're going to learn 12 of them today. We already covered the thought energy topic, which talks about the 52 energy types. We covered this category completely. Today we're going to cover the second lesson on mind energy. The first lesson we covered 24 positive mind energies out of the 89. Today we're going to cover the 12 negative mind energies from the 89. So I want you to know that when you talk about those 12, there are thoughts that exist that creates those mind energies, that gives value to those mind energies. So we won't go into the thought level much, but just the one or two thoughts that are dominant in those mind energies. That's what we're going to cover today. But I want you to just imagine that when we talk about a mind energy, we're just talking about this black line only. And inside that, or at the same time, there are thoughts that exist in those mind energies. Is there any questions so far? Lisa, do you have any questions so far? Are you clear? Okay, great. So let's look at today's topic, which is 12 unwholesome or negative karma creation mind energies. So the best way for me to cover this is to show you that the book these lessons are basically stems from is the Abhidhamma Sangha, or Comprehensive Manual of Abhidhamma. If you're interested to learn this in more detail, I suggest you read this book. Today's topic is starting from page 32, which covers the unwholesome consciousness. So I summarized these in Excel sheet like this. So let me explain before you kind of read into it. These are the 12 mind energies. Okay. But when I explain it, you can relate to it. You can understand it, because I try to categorize them based on root cause, the feelings that's included in each mind energy, the main thoughts that's included and the main thoughts that are excluded, and whether the mind energy is created by yourself or with the help of others. So when we talk about these 12 mind energies, or unwholesome mind energies, in Pali is called Akusal Cittas or Chitta. You can categorize them in different ways, but what you have to understand is these are the mind energies that helps you to create all negative karma. Okay, when you the negative karma that we create, whether intentionally or not, they all are coming from these 12 mind energy types. So it's important, if you want to avoid or identify the negative karma as they get created as quickly as possible, so that you can get rid of them from your mind. First, you have to identify them. So today's lesson is going to help you to identify the negative mind energies as they occur. Okay, well, not as they occur, but after at least a couple of seconds of their occurring. So it's important you pay attention to this lesson very, very carefully, because as I go through different examples of different scenarios, then you can relate to these energies. So these are quite a complex topic, so I'm trying to simplify it as much as possible. So there's a question and answer session at the end. So first of all, we'll categorize them based on root causes. So in Buddhism, there are 6 root causes to all mind energies. Okay, the negative mind energy root causes are known as lobha, dosa, moha in Pali, or greed, hatred, and delusion. Delusion means basically not seeing the truth. Okay, basically when you are deluded, that means you cannot really see things clearly. So you're basically fooling yourself. You're lying to yourself, consciously or unconsciously. Okay, so it is a delusion that really binds us to all of these negative mind energies. Delusion means if you don't have this knowledge of the Dhamma as taught in Buddhism, you may never know the true nature of all things around us. So learning about this Dhamma helps you to get out of delusion, because this teaching is basically the most purest teaching as taught in Buddhism. So when you understand this teaching from now on, your delusion will reduce. Because if you think about it, we exist in this world, and we basically get attached to all things around us, and that's because we don't really see that everything around us is made of vibrational energy. If you really see the vibrational energy through your own intellect, through your own wisdom, then you won't get attached to things. And to get to that state, first you have to understand what are vibrational energy that exists within you, which is a sample of that is a mind energy and thought energy and material energy. So these vibrational energy, if you understand them through learning the Dhamma and also practicing the insight meditation taught in Buddhism, then your attachment to them, to all material things and also non-material things, will automatically basically dissolve. It disappears. So you don't get attached to things, and that's automatic. It comes with realization of the vibrational world that we live in. So this lesson will help you to understand that world by learning or trying to identify the thought and the mind energies that occur in your own mind. So this column B, talks about the root causes. So there are eight mind energies that has a root cause lobha or greed. Out of these 12, 8 are created by greed as a root cause, but 2 are created by dosa or hatred. So when you get angry, you're getting angry using these 2 mind energy types. So we'll learn about them. And there are 2 mind energies that occur in our mind when we are deluded. Okay, when the root cause of that is moha. So moha can exist in dosa mind energies and lobha mind energies. Okay, because moha exists until you achieve nirvana. So in these 2 moha root cause mind energies, only moha exists. There's no lobha or dosa exists in here. But in these root cause type mind energies, moha also exists. So did you understand that, Lisara? Nira?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very important to distinguish. So I basically, yeah, great.
Yes.
So thank you. So basically, this category here talks about the lobha 8 mind energies. Okay, and then this category here, these are the names, the Pali names given to them and the English meaning of them. And then the root cause of moha and dosa, or delusion and hatred, there are 2, and these 2 are here, this 9 and 10. And the root cause of delusion, which has moha only, there's 2 mind energies. So we'll cover all 12 with examples now. First, I want you to appreciate what these words means. Okay, so the first, let's look at the first lobe or greed-rooted mind energy. Okay, let's see what thoughts are dominant in this. Okay, so in this mind energy, the Pali words for it is called Somanassa Sahagata Dittigata Samprayuktam Asankarikam. That's the Pali language meaning for that mind energy. But what that really means is whenever you hear the word Somanassa Sahagatam, Somanassa means joy, a thought called joy. Do you remember in our 14 negative thoughts, we covered that joy? Sorry, actually the joy comes under the 6 thoughts here. So this priti thought, this one, joy, experiencing joy on what you have focused. So basically, when you feel joy in your mind, the Pali word in the mind energy description is called Somanassa. Somanassa means the existence of joy thought exists in your mind at that point. So that's highlighted here. Included feeling. So joy is a feeling. Okay. So when you have a feeling of joy, and the second thought, one of the main thoughts. So the main feeling is joy in this first one. First greed-rooted mind energy has joy in it as a feeling, but it also has main thought as ditti in Pali. Ditti means wrong view or guilty feeling. Okay, guilty thought actually. So when you have these ditti and joy, right, when in your mind energy, then it is said that you have this particular mind. Somanassa Sahagatam Dittiga Sampyuktam. And the third criteria is Asankarikam. Asankarikam means it's promoted by oneself. Okay, this thought was created by yourself without the help of others. So there are 2 key words, 2 words I need to understand: Asankarika and Sasankarika. Asankarika means you created this by yourself. So if you were to think about a past memory where it makes you happy, right? And it also has there is something you've done with guilt. Okay, so some of the things, it's important to remember that all of these 12 thoughts are negative. Okay, these are negative actions. So these are the things, these are the mind energies that occur in your mind when you commit the 5 precepts. When you break, sorry, not commit, when you break the 5 precepts. The 5 precepts covers the categories of killing, stealing, committing adultery, lying, and intoxicating or drinking alcohol, etc. Okay, when you're doing these 5 things, any one of these 8 negative mind energies can occur in your mind. Okay, so now let's look at an example. I think it might be further explained with an example here. So the first mind energy, let's see when that might occur. Okay, now ditti means you have some sort of guilt at that point. So think of a time when you feel guilty. Okay, but because you have joy, think of something you've done wrong. Okay, that at that time you felt guilty and joy. So this is for example, if you were to think of someone, let's say, who steals money. Okay, when someone steals money, let's say a Buddhist person, someone with this, someone who believes in karma. Okay, good and bad effect of action. Someone who believes in that, whether you're Buddhist or not, if you believe in that, and you know that stealing is wrong, okay, because it gives you a negative karmic effect. So if you really believe that, but you saw some money lying around and you took it without permission, in that moment, you had a guilty feeling because you know what you're doing is wrong. But you had joy because it's money, right? And that joy basically is accompanied by loba. Loba means greed. So it was rooted with greed and moha. Moha means obviously you're doing these things when you don't know the true reality of things. Okay, that's why moha exists. But definitely greed existed in that moment. You were happy. It's because of it's something, to do with money, for example, and because you love money, so you were happy about that by seeing the money. But you felt guilty because you were doing bad action of stealing, and this was prompted by yourself. No one told you to do it. You did it on your own. At that moment, you experienced this mind energy, somanassa sahagata, which means joy, ditthigata, which means guilty, asankarika means you did it on your own without the help of others. Now, at that moment, that's the mind energy that exists. So you have to, recognize that mind energy existed in that moment in your mind. Now, to meditate on it, the first thing is to identify that whenever you have this mind energy or this mental state, which has joy and guilt, immediately you have to stop what you're thinking or the story that you're telling yourself in that moment and know that it's a negative mind energy. If I carry on with this mind energy, I'm going to commit a sin, commit a negative karma. Okay, so what I should do is recognize the mind energy as lobha mind energy, and focus on the guilt that you're feeling there, and make sure that the whole purpose of this guilty thought or this ditthi thought is to stop you doing it. Yeah, because one day it will help you to stop doing it because you feel guilty. So the thought of guilt says you're about to break one of your own rules, so immediately stop doing it. Okay, if the purpose of guilty thought is to really make sure you maintain your life, your actions, your thoughts according to your beliefs and values. Okay, which are basically according to the Buddhist beliefs and values in this case, in this context. So basically, if you feel guilty, then stop doing what you're guilty about, and immediately recognize that it's as a lobha thought or greedy mind energy that you're feeling guilty about, and all you have to do is meditate on it. Meditate means in that moment you recognize the mind energy as such, as we described, and then that alone will help the mind energy to lose its intensity. Okay, it will cause it to disappear if you just focus on the energy itself. So you're not going to focus on the story around it. You're not going to talk about think about this, how to steal and what to steal and all of that in that example. Instead, you're going to attack the root cause. Just observe the energy of the greed energy is there, the greed thought is there, joy thought is there, and ditthi thought is there, the wrong view or guilty thought. So you focus on these three thoughts, and just merely acknowledging those thoughts, merely focusing on those thoughts will stop you cultivating that energy. It stops you compelling to do whatever you're guilty about. And then the next step of the meditation is to find or think of the cause and effect that prompt you to do this. The cause really, but in that context, is to see in the money is one of the causes. And then the moment you saw it, you had a greedy thought that comes and say, you should take it. it's good to take it. And acknowledge that the greedy thought prompted you. But then the guilty thought also says, you shouldn't really take it. It's wrong to take it. And then, but the joy thought said, if I took it, I could buy something with it. So I feel happy about it. So all these thoughts that compel you to think like that, you have to individually focus on them and then understand how they connected to each other, and understand, just observe yourself, observe your mind and its behavior through the cause and effect of these thoughts and the external objects that help, that caused you to think like this, and also the feeling it created, the joy it created, because you won't do something like this, you won't commit a sin like this in this moment, in this example, you won't commit it without a joy. But you can do without a joy also if you've been forced to do it by other means. But in this example, you had a joy. So did you all understand the example and how it links to this mind energy?
Yes, it's really interesting. Yeah.
Great. Thank you. So basically, that's the first mind energy, and the second mind energy is very similar. They both stems from root cause moha and lobha, or greed and delusion. They both have joy. They both have guilty feeling. But the main difference is the first one is prompted by yourself or initiated by yourself without the help of others. But the second one is initiated by someone else other than you. So maybe like in that example, maybe, friend of yours could say, you should take the money, right? And then that prompted you. You didn't initially think of taking it, but if someone's, encourage you to do it, or in someone's help you to do a bad action, then this sasankarika, the second thought, second mind energy, is what's causing that action. So the second mind energy says somanas sahagatam dittiga sampyuktam sasankarikam. So somanas means joy, dittigata means guilt or wrong view, sasankarika means prompted by others. So that's the first two thoughts. So it's important to recognize these energies as they occur in your own mind. And awareness is the key. Awareness is the first step to mindfulness. And to become aware, you have to understand these Dhamma, or these the knowledge about these thoughts and mind energies that occur in our mind. So, Tathagata Buddha is the greatest psychology of all time. He's the greatest psychologist of all time. And he, he has seen these different variations of mind energies and thoughts inside those mind energies. And it's amazing, his level of intelligence, but that's just a tiny part of it. But yeah, so the reason we can talk about these very micro details of our own mind, on mind energies at this level, is because it's been taught only in these Buddhist topics of Abhidhamma. So you should be really fortunate and should be feel grateful that you get to teach, or you get to learn these even at this level. So I highly encourage you to read the book and listen to other sermons on this topic, and that will help you to understand your own mind in more depth, and then really contemplate on these thoughts as they occur and identify them as either greed, hatred, or delusion, or at this thought level, with ditthi, those or Vichikicca, Uddhacca, these are different types of thoughts that are highlighted in those energies. Yeah, so let's look at the third one. Okay, so third one says, Somanasa Sahagatam Dittigata Sampayuktam Asankarikam. Dittigata Vipayukta. Vipayukta is the key distinction here. So it's very similar to the first two, but Dittigata Sampayukta means included. Okay, Vipayukta means excluded. So the Pali word Vipayukta means excluded. So you're looking at this column. Okay, so what's excluded is the same thing as the other two, but there's no guilt in this. That's the only distinction. So if you do something with the root cause greed, with joy, without guilt, which was prompted by yourself. So this could be you know, basically breaking the 5 precepts, okay, with some joy, with greed, but there's no guilt. So this could be an example of this kind of mindset can occur in a person who doesn't know about Buddhist teachings, or who doesn't know about, who doesn't believe in karma. Okay, so maybe you know, someone from another religion who doesn't believe in karma, who doesn't know or heard of Buddhism or Buddhist teachings, that person doesn't have any guilt to break these 5 precepts. They basically kills animals without any guilt. Happily they do it also. So if someone kills or hurt a living being, for example, which is a sin, but they don't consider it as a sin. They basically, let's say if you're a fisherman from another religion, you do fishing joyfully for fun, right? You hunt animals for fun. There's no guilt in that mindset, because as far as they're concerned, they're not doing anything wrong. You know, all these fish and all these animals are there to be consumed by humans. You know, they can have this kind of view. Okay, so but they don't have a guilt. If you think that God has created all these animals for you to consume, for you to enjoy, why would you have guilt when you hurt them, when you kill them, when you eat them? So if you have that mindset, then this mind energy, this third one, could exist. So what that means is, in that mindset, you have joy, somanasa sagatam, which is joy. You have joy inside that, and it comes with greed. Okay, if you let's say in eating meat, for example, or killing some sort of, like if you're a hunter and you love to hunt foxes, for example, you found a fox and you have the desire to kill it, because it gives you some sort of joy by doing it. And then in doing so, you don't have any guilt, but you're doing it because you hunt all your life. You know, it comes within. No one told you to do it. So in that kind of person's mindset, this third mind energy can exist. The fourth one is the same, but prompted by others. So he does the same action, but because his friends ask him to do it. You know, if you're a hunter, your friends could ask you to come and hunt with them, and you go along. And then because they're also killing these animals, you're compelled to do it, because you're part of that team. So in that kind of context, the fourth mind energy can exist. Fourth mind energy says, Somanasa sahagatam dittiga sampayuktam sasankarikam. So Somanasa means you definitely have greed or desire in them. Somanasa means you have joy feeling. So you're happy when you do it. You don't have any guilt, but you're doing it because your friends or someone else asked you to. So that's the first 4. Any questions on those 4 negative mind energies? So you have to realize when you're doing something negative like this, when you're breaking the 5 precepts, for example, these are the mind energies that's causing you to do it. Okay, these are the culprits. These are the thoughts and mind energies that's prompting you to break these 5 precepts. So recognize them and destroy them through mindfulness. Don't let them compel you to break these 5 precepts. And it is that awareness that will help you to, develop your own wisdom and ultimately achieve nirvana. So it's important to recognize these mind energies and thoughts in your own minds as they occur, because most of us basically lives with these daily, okay, or some version of it. So it's important to understand these fine distinctions between each. And if you recognize the particular mind energy as they occur, then you can meditate on it. And that is, I think you can do that anywhere, anytime, So meditation is not all about, sitting down and focusing on your breathing. In insight meditation, which is only taught in Buddhism, there are 21 types of meditation. And I'm just referring to the focus in the mind energy meditation, Ochitanopasana, which talks about how to meditate, on your mind energies. So to meditate on your mind energies, you have to understand the different mind energies that can occur in your mind. That's the whole point of this lesson, which is to focus on the most common mind energies, the negative mind energies that exist in your mind. So you must not cultivate any of these mind energies. Basically, they basically create negative karma, which you will have to face even in this life or the next life. Any karma that get created by these mind energies, if they're dominant karmas, they can cause you to be born in the negative realm. So let me show you the realm chart quickly. So these 31 realms is what we born again and again after we die. Okay, so if you start from the bottom, so those 12 negative mind energies, if you do an action from those, and the action is very dominant, it has a dominant karmic effect. After birth, they can influence you to be born in either the hell, the 8 hells, or in the animal world, or the ghost world, or the demon worlds, or any one of these 4 worlds. So even they can help, they can influence you to be born as a human, but without proper, body parts, or some sort of disability. So that's why it's important to not to cultivate these negative thoughts or mind energies. It's very important first to be aware of them. So to become aware, you have to learn about them first. So that's what we're doing. So let's go to the 5th one. So the 5th one, 6th one, and 7th one, and 8th one, they also root cause is lobha, but the main difference is the feeling. You have no joy. Okay, the joy doesn't exist. So in this one, when there's no joy, what you have is the feeling of neutral feeling exists in this 4 type of lobha or greed rooted mind energies. But everything is the same. So you have 2 with guilt, 2 without guilt, 2 self promoted, and the 2 that's promoted by others. So the main thing is for the last 4 of the 8, the feeling is different. So you don't have a joy when you do it. You have a neutral feeling when you do it. So when you're committing a sin with neutral feeling, because let's say you have to, okay, you have to do it because someone's forcing you to do it. You're not joyful. You don't like it. Okay. Let's say out of pure pressure, someone forced you to kill some sort of animal. Okay. Obviously, you don't have joy. Okay. You have greed, you have desire because of, although the action may not be, but maybe because you want someone's love or connection, all right? So you're listening to them to do it. So some sort of greed, some sort of desire exists for whatever reason, but there's no joy. If you do it with guilt, then you do it. Then you have this, but it has to be prompted by yourself. And this one is really if someone's forcing you to do it. This is the example. But if you're doing it without someone's forcing you to do it, but because you don't feel joy, you just do it out of habit, for example. You lie because of a habit, because it feels right. It has some desire aspect or thought, but you don't feel joy about it. You feel neutral. But you have some sort of guilt because lying is wrong, but you're doing it out of habit. So in that moment, you can have this fifth mental state. Upekka sahagata. Upekka means neutral feeling. Ditthigata samprayuktam. Ditthigata means guilt, exist. Samprayukta means exist, included. Asankarika means you're doing it without the help of anyone else. So that's 5. And number 6 is same, but you're doing it because someone else asked you to, or someone else has prompted you to do it. So that's 5th and the 6th. And 7th and the 8th, again, this one without guilt. So the best way I can explain is if you don't believe in karma, or if you don't have any Buddhist teaching knowledge, then whatever negative karma action that you do without joy, you will be doing it using one of these mind energies. So mostly people from other religion will use these energies, these mind energies when they do it. The ones that exclude guilt. Any questions? Because that covers the lower rooted mind energies, all 8 of them. Any questions on that so far? Is that pretty clear? Isara, is that clear for you?
Yeah, it was clear.
Good. So it's important that we understand, what particular combination of thoughts that can occur when we break the 5 precepts, if we ever do. Okay. Now you can break the 5 precepts with your thoughts also, as well as words and actions, because those are 3 ways you can create karma. Even thinking about it. Thinking is the first stage. Then the other 2 are actions, either through words or physical action. So you have to really find out examples of when you use these mind energies. And that will help you to contemplate and get rid of through insight meditation, when you do the Ochitanopasana meditation. So let's look at the thoughts that help us to get angry. Okay, if we ever get angry, these are the mind energies that will cause you to feel angry. So it's important we learn about them and recognize the root cause of our anger. What's causing it? What's the behavior? What goes in our mind when you get angry? That's what I'm going to talk about right now, when I focus on the 9th and the 8th mind energies, which is to do with root cause hatred or anger. So 9 says, so root cause 9, we are here now. Root cause. So we covered the first 8. Now we are on to the 9th and 10th. So 9 says, Domanassa sahagatam. Patiga sampayuktam asankarikam. So domanassa means there's a painful feeling. Okay. When there's pain, patiga means anger. So there's a painful feeling with anger thought, sampayukta means exists. So as you can see here, so the root cause is dosa, which is hatred or anger. And also just know that for lobha and dosa mind energies, moha also exists. So moha definitely exists. So moha and dosa are the root causes for this ninth mind energy. But there's a pain there. So when you feel pain and when you feel anger thought, so when you feel painful, when you have a painful experience with anger and is prompted by yourself, so this is when you, let's say you're think of a time when you felt angry. Whenever you think of a time by yourself that you felt angry about, then in that moment you have this mind energy. Because no one's asked you to do it. You just remember the time you felt angry about, for example. So it's easy to identify this because there's only two variations of these mind energies for anger. One is when you created the energy by yourself by thinking something that happened in the past by yourself. The other one is someone caused you to feel angry. So if someone's shouting at you, if someone's blaming you, if someone's want you to, if someone's broke your expectations, for example, that person is the initiator. They initiated the anger mind energy in you. Okay, in that moment, then you have this mind energy, number 10, which says, Domanassa sahagatam patiga samprayuktam sasankarikam. So the only difference is sasankarika, which means it's prompted by someone else. But again, it's the root cause is moha and dosa, which is delusion and hatred or anger. And it has pain. So you have pain inside when that happens. So when you have pain and anger thought, hatred thought, or dosa, when you have anger thought with pain, and it's initiated by the action of someone else other than you, then this is the mind energy you experience in that moment, number 10. So then you have to recognize, I have the hatred mind energy at this moment. And when you observe this mind energy that occurs in your mind, so when you get angry, basically, recognize that you have anger thought and painful feeling, which is to do with anger mind energy, right? Acknowledge that. That's the first step. Acknowledge the type of mind energy you have in that moment. That's awareness, and this knowledge will help you to give you that awareness from now on. Okay, so become aware. So don't go after the story, okay, that caused you to feel angry. The story will just increase the anger. If that's what normal people do. They follow the story. I'm telling you not to follow the story, but observe the true nature, the culprits behind the story. The culprits behind the stories are these thoughts, hatred thought, painful feeling, and the anger thought, basically. So if you have anger thought and you have painful feeling, you should immediately recognize those two thoughts and feelings and say, right now, I'm in anger state. I have anger thoughts. So what I should be doing is just, you can say, don't get attached while you're focusing on the anger to reduce the intensity. And then once it's reduced, you can observe this anger energy or thought, this mind energy, as an outsider. Just watch the energy without focusing on the story or the justification to be angry. Because justification is basically will cause you to be more angry, more and more angry. Okay, you can justify to the nth degree, and just to give the satisfaction that you're right, but it will not reduce your anger. The only way to reduce your anger is to find the root cause of the energy behind this anger story, and just observe it. You can use techniques like don't get attached. If you say don't get attached while you're focusing on the anger for about 10-20 times, it will reduce intensity. The reason you say don't get attached is because you know that all these are energies, right? Thought energy and feeling energy are all made of energies. All your thoughts, all 52 thoughts, are made of energy. And all 3 types of feelings, happy, sad, and neutral, they're made of energy. So because if something is made of energy, the nature of energy is that it constantly changes. So what's the point of getting attached to something that's constantly changes? It's silly, right? It doesn't make sense. So that's why we say don't get attached. Okay, so if you just give that meaning when you say the words don't get attached and attack the mind energy at that point, then it will reduce the intensity of it immediately, because you're not cultivating it. You can't be fooled by the anger thought and the dosa root cause and the moha root cause to go after a story and cultivating negative karma in the process. So instead, you're basically saying, I'm not going to let my delusion carry on from here. I'm going to awake my awareness thought and wisdom thought, and I'm going to destroy this delusion story in this instance by just focusing on it, or saying don't get attached while you're focusing on it. So either way, you have to discourage that energy until it's completely neutral. So do you have any questions on these two energies? The hatred energy. One is prompted by yourself, one is prompted by someone else other than you, but they all have anger thoughts and painful feeling. Is it easy to recognize those two energies, those two mind energies as they occur? Because there's not too many variations.
Yeah, it is actually, yeah.
Excellent, thank you. Lisara, did you understand that?
Yeah.
So do you think you can recognize these energies as they occur in your own mind?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, when you get angry, what should you be doing now? From what you just learned?
So you should try to understand like the root cause from that negative thought, so that you can like try not to get attached to the situation.
Yeah, to the thought, yeah, and then really observe the thought, observe the anger thought, and really see the characteristics of anger. So really see what's going on when you're angry. Just look inward, don't look outward. Okay, when you look outward, your anger gets increased. I want to look inward and just be curious what's really happening when you get angry, and really see what the story you're telling yourself. See, try to understand the cause and effects that contributed for you to feel this, painful feeling and the angry thought. Basically, for example, if someone shouted at you, let's say a friend of yours shouted at you and you felt angry for because they shouted for no reason. So in that moment, the cause and effect is, first of all, that person shouting at you, and maybe the words they use contribute to this. So that's one of the causes, the word they use, and the tone of the words is one of the causes, and the fact that that person is your friend, so you have some attachment to that person, so the attachment could be a cause. So like that, you got to understand all the causes and effects that contributed you to feel this way. When you do that, you're basically analyzing or you meditate, you're doing what's called insight meditation on your mind energy. Okay, so basically try to study your mind in a curious way instead of getting angry. That's a very different attitude. Instead of basically going after the story, trying to argue the point, trying to win your argument, right? Trying to hurt the other person. That's a different mindset. That's a mindset of a deluded person. That's a mindset of a person who's going to, increase their life cycles in this samsaric journey. Okay, so you're going the opposite direction. You're going to reduce your life cycles in this samsaric journey and achieve nirvana in this lifetime. And to do that, we have to really, be aware of the culprits that cause us negative karma, and put a stop to it as quickly as possible. And that's what developed your wisdom. That's what developed your awareness and mindfulness. And that's what helps you to achieve nirvana, that kind of attitude. So that's the attitude I'm trying to cultivate here in all of us, and all the people who are listening. So it's important to really, study your mind with this knowledge. Look at emotions and thoughts in completely different way, just as energy, nothing more than energy. And don't give them importance, because the moment you give importance to your thoughts, they can control you. They can create karma. Okay, we don't want to create karma. The only karma we want to create is positive karma, not negative karma. Ultimately, you'll have to stop creating positive karma to achieve nirvana also, but that's later. But at this stage, you have to, stop creating negative karma. That's the first step. And to do that, you have to learn this teaching and become aware of it. So that's the hatred or the anger dominated mind energies. Now, we talked about greed dominated mind energies and anger dominated mind energies. Let's look at delusion dominated mind energies. There's only two, right? These are very easy to understand. So when you have delusion in these mind energies, dosa thought doesn't exist, or anger thought doesn't exist, or desire doesn't exist. So the only thought that exists is doubt and distractedness. So when you're in doubt, and the feeling in that moment is upeksha, or basically neutral. There's no joy or pain, just neutral. So the easiest way to identify delusional mind energies is to know when you're in doubt. Okay, so when you're fearful, you're in doubt, and when you're doubtful, you have this mind energy, number 11, which is here. Number 11 says, Upekka sahagatam vichikiccha sampayuktam ekam. So basically, vichikiccha means, it's a Pali word for doubt. When you're doubtful, you can't decide what's right and wrong, right? You're indecisive in that state. So decisions thought is excluded also. But the key thought that dominates this mind energy is doubt. So know that when you're in doubt, you don't have any pain or pleasure feelings. It's just neutral. In that moment, you're in a delusional state. So when you the way to get rid of this is to recognize that it's a doubt thought that you're experiencing right now, and initially just say don't get attached, few times until the intensity of the doubt goes down, and then watch the appearance and disappearance of the doubt thought energy in your mind, and then until it disappears, you watch it, and then know that it disappears. So first is recognition. So recognize the thought as doubt, and if you can't really control the intensity of the thought, then you can say don't get attached, just to reduce the intensity, and then watch the the energy. Just keep watching it as a third person until it disappears. And then you can also find the root causes, cause and effect that cause you to feel doubtful. It could be someone's created that doubt in you, right? By saying certain words, changing your focus. These are all causes, okay? Just try to analyze backwards what has to happen. Ultimately, you should end up with moha, basically, or delusion. It's because of delusion that you couldn't decide, okay? That's the ending of it. But until then, between delusion and doubt, there are other causes and effects which you should contemplate on when you're meditating, when you're doing this insight meditation. And that's very helpful for you to get rid of your moha or delusion. So that's the number 11. Number 12 is distracted, uddhacca. So again, it only has delusion root cause. There's no hatred or greed root causes in there. The feeling is neutral feeling or peka, but the thought that's dominant is uddhacca. In the uddhacca mind energy, you can actually decide, so you can make decisions, but uddhacca means, if you go back here, the meaning of uddhacca, Pali word uddhacca, English word is distracted or restlessness, unable to focus on one thing. So this is a thought really that gives you that wandering mind. When you try to meditate or when you try to focus on something, if your mind wanders, it's because of this thought, uddhacca. So you can weaken this thought by practicing concentration meditation or strengthening your ekaggata, one-pointedness thought. If this thought is weak, then your uddhacca thought is strong. So for you to practice or make this mental muscle strong, you have to practice in the concentration meditation or samatha meditation. Okay, so basically, when you're distracted, know that the root cause of that is delusion, and you have this mind energy, which is the last one. Upekka sahagatam, uddhacca sampayuktam. Sampayuktam means included, okay, included, and ekam. So that's so when you're distracted, your root cause is delusion. When you're in doubt, your root cause is delusion, and so you have a delusion-based mind energy. So those are the last two for today's topic. Do you have any questions? Lisara, Neera, do you have any questions?
Not really, but because it's quite a lot to take in, and I think
yes.
Once you sort of read it through again and go through it and read about it, and practice as well is needed to recognize these thoughts. That's the thing.
Definitely.
But what you have been saying, I mean, it makes sense in a way.
Yeah. I mean, these are, I mean, if you're hearing this for the first time, it's a lot to take in, but ultimately, this is what's happened in your mind. And it just, I'm just helping you to become aware of it in the context of Buddhist teaching. So it's simply, if you understand these 14 negative thoughts, whenever you have these thoughts, so if I can quickly recap here. So ignorance is moha, right? So ignorance exists in all thoughts except for the in all negative thoughts, moha or ignorance exist. That's why we in this samsara. So for ignorance to disappear, we have to go to nirvana, basically. So that's the last thought that get disappeared or purified. The ahirikya anuttapa means shamelessness or recklessness, shamelessness to do bad action. When you bake in the 5 precepts without shame, you're using this thought because this is very strong. When you're fearless to do bad action, using the anuttappa thought. When you're distracted, when you can't concentrate on anything, then this thought is strong. When you're greed, when you have desire, dominated thoughts, then you have this thought. When you have guilt or wrong view, you have this. When you have pride, mana, it is very important. Mana thought will only disappear when you achieve nirvana. So it's there to the end, basically. So we have to understand how our, when we judge someone as equal to us or higher than us or lower than us, this judging thought is there until the end. So make sure you become aware how this thought plays a part in your mind. How is cultivating your behavior and thought process. So become aware when pride thought is dominant in your mind, and it's important not to get attached to them. Okay, discourage it, destroy it. Don't allow the judging thought to create karma in your mind, or basically spend time in your mind. The other one is hatred, which is dislike, anger, hatred. These are some words that describes it. So anything, this is one that leads to pain, basically. Hatred leads to pain, and greed or desire leads to happiness. Happiness in this context is negative, so it creates negative happiness. So if you break the 5 precepts and do it with joy or happiness, that's also negative. But just understand these are thoughts that we need to become aware. So jealousy is one of them. Jealousy thought becomes strong when you don't cultivate the positive thought called mudita, which is this one, sympathetic joy, which means to appreciate the joy, to basically be happy when others are happy, rather than become bitter. So jealousy and miser. Miser is very, very important to recognize, because it can creep in together with desire. Okay, this can happen in 5 contexts. Okay, when you don't want to share, it's very similar to selfishness, or basically you could say selfish when you don't want to share your wealth, homely objects, knowledge, beauty tips, and caste with others. But what about, let's say you buy something that you always wanted, but you don't want to use it for yourself. That's also part of miser. Okay, so you buy things, but you don't want to use it for yourself. That's because the miser thought, or this macharya, is dominant in that moment. So recognize that at that moment and say, don't get attached, or observe it until it disappears. So learning these thoughts, especially these negative thoughts, is very important, because then you can recognize them as they occur in your mind. The other one is Tina Midda. Tina Midda, basically, one is becoming weak in your mind energy, and one is causing weakness in your thought energy. But they both contribute to laziness and sleepiness, anything lazy kind of thoughts. Just remember that it's Tina Midda that's causing it. So you can say don't get attached to that also. Last one is skepticalness or vichikiccha. When you feel doubt, when doubt creeps into your mind, know that vichikiccha is a dominant thought, or skeptical thought is dominant in that moment. And so those are the negative thoughts, and these exist in the 12 negative mind energies that we talked about. So it's important that we recognize them and acknowledge them, and try to observe them for what they really are, which is energy. And don't give any importance. I don't personally give any importance to any of these, because the Tathagata Buddha said that all of this is what causing you to be born again and again, and also causing you to go to the negative worlds or negative realms after death. And also they cause you to feel negative consequences or have negative consequences in this life. So it's important not to cultivate it. So hopefully that gives you some extra added benefits and understanding of recognizing these mental energies as they occur. So at this stage, we can end the session. And do you have any questions before we finish? Nira, Lisara, do you have any questions?
I haven't got a question, but I just feel quite interested to see, when we look at these different thoughts, it's not just words anymore. It is, energy. You have identified them more in detail with examples, and that is what matters really, because understanding where to pick it up.
Yes, yes.
And then acknowledge it and then take it from there.
Yes, indeed, indeed. And just imagine, whenever we are breaking the 5 precepts, we're doing it with these thoughts. Okay, the 5 precepts are the end results, and we know when we're doing it. So when that happens, it's important to identify the culprits behind our actions in that moment. So these are the culprits, Yep. So when we should know when we are shameless to do bad things, when we are fearless to do bad things, we have to become smart and think of the consequences of those bad things and become shameful, become fearful, make us feel shameful and fearful to do, break those 5 precepts, by thinking the consequences. That's why you need to learn the Dhamma and the karmic effect, the subject of karma, because the Dhamma will teach you, the consequences of your bad actions, and that will help you to become shameful. And we should be shameful to break the 5 precepts, basically, or do bad things. We should be fearful to do bad things. So these two basically are, they exist in all mind energies. Okay, so it's important to, discourage them consciously. And so basically the others also, distractedness, you can only reduce this by, observing it or practicing concentration meditation, or even if you repeat the words, don't get attached to all the thoughts that comes to your mind, the distracted thought will be less and less strong in your mind. So desire, when you do something, when you buy something you love, like clothes, when you do shopping, you're doing it because of desire, lobha, right? And you have a story for it. Forget the story. The story will never end, and it will bind you to this life and the next life. Find the root cause of the story. What's behind it? What's driving it? Always be analytical. Always become aware in your own mind. What's the root cause? What's the root thought behind it? The root causes are what I highlighted here: ignorance, greed, hatred. Identify the root cause behind the story. Identify the dominant thoughts in the story and focus on those. Forget the story. The story won't help you to achieve nirvana, but focusing on this energy does, and destroying this energy does. So from today, try to really focus on the root cause, which are these thoughts, and try to destroy them through insight meditation, which is, what we practiced last time. So the 3 levels of, 3 stages of insight meditation on the mind energy, Ochitanopasana, is first, become aware. So this knowledge will help you to become aware of these thoughts as they occur. So awareness is the first step. Then second is to find the cause and effect. How did you recognize, what did you recognize, and what did you feel? So recognition thought and feeling thought. Feeling and recognition. Sanya and feelings is what are the cause and effect for you to feel that way, for you to experience the mind energy. So feeling says experience either happy, sad, or neutral feelings. Okay. So if you were to, like, recognition is very important. So this thought is what helps you to recognize something as good or bad, something as X, Y, Z. So what did you recognize for you to feel, or for you to have this thought in your mind? What caused you? Is someone blamed you? Is that person, their tonality? These are all sanya, the words they use. And then how that made you feel. Made you feel upset. So you had to one by one analyze and do backtracking from the mind energy to the root cause. That will help you to break the intensity of this, and it definitely helps you to become aware. So does that make sense? I think we went over time here, so thanks for sticking with me. I hope that made you feel more mindful about your own mind. So I highly recommend you to learn these thoughts. The more you learn them by heart, the quicker you recognize them as they appear in your mind. So if you don't have any questions, we can end the session today. So thank you very much for joining, and may you all attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana in this lifetime. And may this knowledge help you to do that, and may you have the the earnestness and also the desire to learn the Dhamma and practice insight meditation and really develop your own awareness and wisdom until you achieve Nirvana in this lifetime itself. So thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much for this invaluable information.
You're very welcome.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you. Everyone Saranai.
Everyone Saranai.